sure.
I was actually asked that before by
Oh,
so
right.
Dave, just slide
Maybe.
that way.
this way.
That's it. Are you good, Ray?
And camera's rolling.
Framing.
Oh, sorry. Yes, that's good, David. Again.
So welcome to Sydney, and how was the world premiere yesterday?
Pretty exciting.
yeah,
We had
very
monks
exciting.
and Grenadier Guards and everybody. I mean, and the blue Rolls Royce purring
Yes.
away.
Yeah.
And a great turnout. Very nice.
And Oliver, I mean, how did you get involved? Because obviously the first film was directed by Peter Howitt,
Mm.
and now you're doing the sequel. So
Mm.
how did that all come about?
Well, I was approached a couple of years ago and wasn't sure about it actually because I wasn't sure where they were going to take it. But I read the script that Hamish McCall had done and I thought it had a lot of ambition. He was trying to push it somewhere quite interesting and so I met up with him and Rowan. And he similarly had a kind of desire to push it in a particular direction and we seemed to all see eye to eye and next thing we know here I am in Sydney.
And obviously, Rowan, I mean, Gillian, how was it working with Rowan?
It's fabulous. I mean, he's very dedicated to his work, and he's very much a perfectionist. And watching a very serious master of comedy at work is something to behold. So it was very educational for me.
Is it hard to keep a straight face? Because I mean, technically, the rest of the cast are all the straight men.
Yeah.
And Rowan's in the middle, and he's such a physical comedian. Is it hard to keep a straight face?
Well, what's interesting about Rowan when he's working is that he doesn't often, you know, a lot of comedians are on all the time, and Rowan just isn't, and so he's mostly on just when the camera's rolling, and so it's quite surprising to be in a very serious conversation with him, you know, offset and getting prepared and everything's very serious. This stuff comes out of him. It takes a lot of work to keep oneself from completely falling apart with laughter. Yeah.
And was he great to work as a director? Was he good to work with as an actor?
Yeah, no, he's. I mean, the fascinating thing about him is he has a very particular sort of process. He has a very clear idea of what he wants to get to, and sometimes once you've got it, you'll play and try a few other different things. But on the whole, it's nearly always about polishing that idea, and so it's as much about creating an environment where he feels comfortable, but. Because Hamish and I worked together a bit on the script and then you're rehearsing it together, by the time we get to the camera it's pretty clear where you're going with it. But he's absolutely the most meticulous man you can imagine. And he's like an engineer, you know, and he does see all the cogs of the comedy and analyses the whole thing. And so when the cast do crack up, like I remember the day of doing the chair scene, for example, he was quite shocked because he's so focused on the kind of serious intent of the character that he was amazed at the sort of response. So it's not a kind of easygoing, let's have fun together thing, but it's a really focused and really an incredible kind of dedication, as you were saying. The commitment is astonishing.
It must be quite interesting for you to have had the experience of going for such a long time, over, you know, discussing over tables, the comedy, discussing comedy, and then showing up to work and actually seeing it unfold.
Yeah, definitely. No.
That must have been really
I think it was good, and I think some of it, you feel he has an idea of the perfection that he's reaching for, and there are times you feel, he got pretty damn close to it, and other times it's really nice to surprise him. I mean, the fun thing from our point of view was to present not just the straight men in the other cast, but a really strong cast, that there's a real authentic world in which the comedy can exist, you know. And so I think it was a learning process for him as well.
And can you talk about casting? Because obviously you've got Gillian there as the head of MI7.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you go about casting the rest of the film?
Well, it was, you know, had this been Daniel Craig playing John English, which I think we're lining that up for number 3, then, you know, how would you really take these parts very seriously and give it the kind of glamour and a kind of, on one level you want to really get the sort of, the fine English character which he would like to see himself working in, but also the international element, you know, to give it a sort of international espionage feel. So you're taking it pretty damn seriously. You're not looking for people who are going to nibble at the comedy cake. These are characters who are really going to chase those characters down, the actors down, you know. And so I think it was a very good experience.
And Gillian, I mean...
I like that nibble at the comedy cake.
Yeah, I know.
What was it attracted you to the role?
Well, first of all, I think working with Rowan, because I've been aware of his talent as a comedian for a long time, and I've played an agent before, and sometimes it's I've tried very hard to steer clear of agenty type roles in the past, but there's
No more trench
something.
coats.
Well, there's something interesting about heading towards it instead, and yet trying to make it very, very different from what you've done before. And there's a unique challenge in doing that. And certainly the idea of playing the head of something, which just, as my 5'3" frame, and being, the boss of all of these tall men I just find that in and of itself quite hysterical. So that was
She was
fun to
8
do.
foot tall on screen.
On screen, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's my time up. So thank you very much,
Thank
guys.
you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Enjoy the
Cheers.
rest of time in Sydney.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Watch your heads there.